I have been feeling like such a bad person. I have talked closely to Babe about this so many times and still couldn't articulate anything much before. But this distance that we have been maintaining recently has been already so helpful, and I really appreciate that you understand my need for it, even though I was not able to ask for it directly. I am trying to get better, and I am getting better. It is just that one cannot always observe it, as cheesy as it sounds. I just have been feeling so weird and alienated in our relationship lately that I decided it would be much more honest not to fake cheerfulness but to perform closer to how I was feeling while I was looking for ways to express how I was feeling. Therefore, I find the general care for you attitude of people who are trying to talk to smokers about it such a violent and invasive way without analyzing the complex relationship they have to this self-destructive activity as a harmful and disrespectful act. At the same time, I would love to be president, and I wouldn't have doubts if I won the election. My smoking started as self-harm, and I think for many others it did too. I understand that you are having doubts, but the real question is whether you want to be president in this exact circumstance, president with Babe as manager, or with me as president. I don't really know what you want me to tell you. These negative feelings are reinforced by what seems to be a highly generalizing approach of social judgment and often only has a negative effect. I just kind of felt like there is an implication that I am fragile in this wording, which bothered me a bit. Finally, how small is the margin? Should we have a revote if it really is that small? I think it's some implied assumptions that have been part of our casual life that have been making me feel so uncomfortable. And again, I wish I knew a way to phrase all this earlier. I was a little confused when you called. Is it really about my feelings? This does feel like a breakup. That's exactly how I described it to a close friend recently. But it is the fact that it felt like a relationship that was making me feel so strange and uncomfortable. I'm not making assumptions, and I assume you too may have been dealing with such urges from a very young age. So you perhaps understand that we all work out our own coping mechanism for that. Some of them safer, some not. People don't just start doing it. They're not stupid, but go through a chain of self-hatred, depression, and other difficult issues. I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I was very afraid that I would. I definitely need to apologize because I should have been more open about feeling like I need space. It's true, but I have also been confused uh, about my feelings and didn't know how to word it. And really, if you want to know what worse means, it just means being suicidal. And so I was thinking very clearly, but it's not an excuse to push you away so abruptly. Again, I am so sorry that I am hurting you. I've been thinking and worrying about this. So I think you are in a very difficult position right now, being a lot depends on your decision right now. I by no means do not want to stop being friends with you. It is not just a thing people do. that can be stopped by rationalization. You ran, and this was the most probable outcome. I remember a time in my life when the belief in my own perversity and disgust to myself for being lesbian was so strong I could not control myself, beating my body against the wall, holding a knife in my hands, putting yourself in situations when non consensual sex would happen, all in order to fix myself and conform to the social norms. I think a large reason for how alienated I am now is that our talk about me going back has made me realize that at the same time how different we are, but also how much I felt like my personality was being dominated in our relationship. I am very sorry. I really was not trying to, but now I see how hurtful it must have been. I just was in a pretty bad streak since the end of spring. I even stopped talking to Babe too. It was a whole thing. And it is only now that I am actually finding words that kind of express how I feel about also not really. But I understand if you don't want to talk to me anymore.